So
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Endless Endeavor podcast, the only podcast brought to you in support of the Girl Scouts of America's mission against the Illuminati.
I don't have to do an intro now.
Yeah.
For those wondering, jiu-jitsu class is going on in the background. You may hear some people getting thrown or some music, but like I always say, we do real life here, and that's part of the podcast. Having you on solo, because the only other episode you did was with the Ukis, right?
Yeah.
And I like that episode. But what I think is necessary, because you become like my main Uki now, and I want to geek out on that for a while, and I want to geek out on your journey into jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think people love jiu-jitsu episodes, man. They do.
Yeah.
It's just, once you delve into the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, it becomes addicting. People start to see the change in themselves and a lot of transformation both on and off the mats. And so people like hearing about it too, because it's powerful. And the truth, the reason you become my main Uki is because Skylar has moved more into no-gi primarily. And that's kind of Daniel's team. And then you're always working with me with the kids.
Yeah.
And so that for me builds a perfect streamlined process, because it's almost like we do kids class together. That kind of works out the kinks.
Right.
And then we move right into adult class. And I like to teach the same lessons. We change some different aspects just because I think the adults can probably consume a little more jiu-jitsu. Or you know what?
Yeah.
It's also because of the time. Kids class is 1 hour. Adults class is 90 minutes.
Right.
And so I love you, Zach. You're a great Uki, but because he can't be here for kids class, it's just kind of turned into what it's turned into.
Yeah. And it ended up just kind of working out with my life that I can get here at like 4 o'clock and we do the open mat thing and we stretch and we hang out with the kids who are here early, maybe talk about the lesson, do like ninja moves and stuff. Then we do kids class. Then we do adults class. So I'm here for like 4 hours. We're just hanging out doing jiu-jitsu.
Dude, because you don't have any kids yourself.
No.
But you do have a wife and you have a job. You have a personal life outside of jiu-jitsu. Is a 4-hour commitment tough? Or is it because you like it? It just is what it is?
It can be, but I mean, that's why I don't do more days a week. But my wife's busy too. So Mark is a black belt here and he's got a farm up the road. She works there after her day job. And
that's not her day job.
No. So she's like a data analyst. So she'll go there early in the morning and like take the horses out or whatever, do her day job, and then go work at the farm.
Okay.
So then we both get home at like 8 o'clock at night and do dinner and have together time and stuff. But then we kind of set aside Tuesday, Thursday for home chores and stuff like that. And Friday's like our day.
Got it.
So Monday, Wednesday, I'd just be sitting at home on the couch anyway.
Okay.
So I might as well be doing jiu-jitsu.
You might as well be doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. And I want to like really take a deep dive into how you spending more time here, you teaching, you covering class, you working with the kids has helped your growth on the mats exponentially.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was just going to say, I don't even know how aware of it you necessarily are, because your own growth sometimes is hard to identify just because it's so incremental.
Yeah.
But when you're on the outside looking in, it's a lot. I think it's easier to identify.
Totally.
And your fucking jiu-jitsu has been spot on. I would say you've leveled up. I titled this episode "Growing into Your Purple Belt" because I feel like that's been your journey probably the last 6 months.
Yeah. It's like I felt my jiu-jitsu get slower. And that's where I kind of realized like, oh, like this is clicking. And it's definitely because of teaching.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of out of that phase of having to walk myself through things in my head. But like all of blue belt, I was like, kind of how you'd explain the moves to the kids. I'd be doing it in my head, like now do this and move this and throw your leg this way. And that's how you do the thing. And I'm past that now, but having to explain it to a 10-year-old just really ingrains details and fundamentals. And then you can pick up on smaller details.
Yeah.
Because the other stuff is just kind of second nature now.
Well, and bro, how many times do you hear me say it at Bow Out to the whole team? I'm like, hey, blue belt and above, if you want to hop in with kids, cool. Purple belt and above, if you want to start coaching adults, particularly 101, like take advantage of the opportunity to teach other people your jiu-jitsu, because it makes your understanding of your jiu-jitsu grow exponentially. And I mean, obviously people got their lives, and some people jump at that chance, and then other people might just not work out for them. But everybody that after they coach for a little while, it's like, oh, okay, this is what makes it all come together. Because doing it yourself and explaining it are two totally different things. However, once you do explain it, you start to find your understanding of your own game. Like, bro, I'm sure you've seen it with me plenty, where it's like, hey, show me what you're doing right here. And I'm like, I don't really know. Here, let me do the sweep to you. And then we'll see like the exact grips or the exact placement. Yeah. And it forces you to dissect your game. And then once you do that, you have more of a comprehensive understanding of it.
Right. Or like you always see arm bars.
Keep talking. I'm gonna let them know, turn the music down just a bit. Okay.
So everybody thinks they watch UFC and they can do an arm bar because you see it and you're like, yeah, bend arm backwards, make a break, got it. And then you go to your first couple jiu-jitsu classes and you see a few of the details. You're like, oh, you need to do this weird thing with your leg for S mount and then arm bar, got it. But then when you have to walk somebody through it, like, oh no, this is why your arm bar sucks. Like the elbow's too low. You need to suck it in. This is why you need to pinch your knees together. And you kind of can see somebody else doing it and explain it to them. It ingrains that in you.
Yeah.
You know, where you kind of think you know how to do the thing, but if you can explain it to somebody else, you're teaching yourself too.
And it's bizarre how a lot of people, I mean, they think because they've watched it that they kind of have an understanding of what it entails. And like, dude, what? Yeah. Obviously there are visual learners, right? You can see something and it certainly opens up some type of pathway, but watching and doing are almost like different chapters of a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not one doesn't carry over to the other very well.
No.
You know, like you said, pinching the knees together, because pinching the knees together, you may be able to visually observe that, right? If their knees are like really far apart, but the squeeze to bite that arm, the pulling that shoulder up just a little bit more and then getting that clamp, you can't really visually identify that.
No.
You have to learn that through both doing it, drilling it, but then like you just said, when you teach it to someone else, it's like, oh, this is the angle. Oh, this is where I clamp. And then that's when it really starts to come together.
Yeah. And it really helps. That's where being an uke is really handy, you know?
Yeah.
Is I'm not watching it. I'm the only guy in the gym who's feeling how this is really supposed to feel, like a black belt level armbar.
Yeah.
And when I'm tapping super, super early, where it is that you're letting the pressure up so you can kind of keep explaining things. I'm like, oh, so if you're really slamming your knees together, I can't even kind of touch my shoulder to the mat.
No, it's isolated.
My fist is 24 inches off the ground and it's already tapping.
Well, bro, and that's why I always say, if you have to lift your hips for an armbar, and don't get me wrong, sometimes your opponent's defense dictates that because they're trying to take their shoulder the opposite direction that I'm trying to take it. So if they can get that shoulder lower than I want it, now you do have to engage your hips, right? But a picture perfect armbar, my hips are still on the ground. You're tapping way before I start to open my hips up.
Yeah.
That should be the very, very end, just like icing on top of the cake to get that tap.
Right. Right. Like if you're doing it right, you're not doing what you picture or you'd see online of the guy with his hips bridged all the way up off the mat, you know, like, and that's pretty loose.
Well, and then also, and it's funny, man, 21 years of jiu-jitsu, I've always done things a certain way. And then you watch or listen to an instructional or attend a seminar. And John Donaher was saying, like, instead of breaking the arm center line in your sternum, if you're attacking the right arm, attack it over your right hip. If you're attacking the left arm, attack it over your left hip. And the reasoning behind that is, well, I pull the arm all the way down, I open my hips all the way up, and that's maximum pressure I can apply. But if it's off to the side, I can actually push it or pull it, however you want to look at it, well past the plane of my body,
Right.
and you can create way more braking pressure there.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, and one thing it's cool seeing you really enjoy uking is the last few seminars that have come through town. You're like, hey, can I volunteer to be uki?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Jake wants to get every little pro tip that he can.
Oh yeah, and I love it. I don't know if it's just me wanting to be the center of attention or not, but I don't know. I think it's cool to be an uke, you know?
Well,
Like,
you
it's-
got to. I think it's cool too watching you want to do this because, like when Aaron Teagues came up,
Yeah.
and not only did you get to uki, but it's apparent to me that Aaron Teagues, like I would say, his almost like scientific understanding of grips and angles. That dude, yeah, that dude is very, very dialed in on like the minutia of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And your brain kind of functions on a similar plane than his. So
Yeah.
I could see you doing his working with him. You were absorbing that stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you could feel the way he would turn his knee, and you could tell I was geeking out on it. So he showed me the difference between putting your foot here and here. And I was like, oh yeah, I totally feel that. That's a huge difference. He's like, right?
Yeah. So now, I mean, actually, last 3 seminars, you got to be under Bushesha. Mm-hmm. And I say under because he was teaching. He was teaching the folding pass that day.
Yeah.
I actually think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think he did it to me a couple times, and I was like, Marcus, can you use one of my ukis now?
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
dude,
You were
I
like,
was like-
Jake wants to feel this. And I was like, yes.
Dude.
And then his S mount arm bar
Oh,
set
bro,
up.
it's like you want to tap before you're even in a submission.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
His pressure, every ounce of weight right on my diaphragm. And he's talking. So I'd like breathe out and I'd never get that.
That air back
Breath
in.
back.
Yeah, it's like a boa. That's like how a boa constrictor attacks, you know?
Yeah.
Like every time there's any element of exhale, little tighter, and now you're stuck there.
Uh-huh.
And the diaphragm doesn't work because that muscle can't outpower 260-pound Bushesha.
No.
You know what's fascinating about him, bro, is it's like you look at like some of the really good athletes in the gym, like yourself, or like Zach or Drew, like guys that are very good jiu-jitsu, but also just like exceptional athletes on top of it. Mm-hmm. That's Marcus too, except he's twice as big as the rest of us.
Right. It's terrifying seeing a dude that big move that well. Like you just don't see it. You see big guys who are like powerhouses,
Yeah.
but he moves like he's a 150-pound guy.
Well, bro, and like, I mean, that's what makes him the fucking greatest of all time.
Yeah.
It's like he has the physical attributes to be who he wants to be. Like, and I would never take away from like, oh, well, it's because he's 260 pounds. No, he took the genetic gift that he was given and built himself into one of the most technical jiu-jitsu guys that's ever lived. Mm-hmm. And, bro, it's fucking fascinating because it's just like the tournament I did last month or 2 months ago, whatever it was. I signed up in ultra heavyweight because I was like, well, obviously that's where the fights were at for me, right?
Right,
So
right.
the event coordinator called me and he said, hey, Greg, you got 2 options. Go up to ultra heavyweight and fight your age group or fight your weight bracket in the adult division. And it's like 22-year-old black belts down there.
Right.
And
Right.
if that's all that was available, that's what I would have done, right? But let's be serious, man. I turned 45 this year. And dude, if you're and he said they were 22-year-old black belts. That means they've been training since they were fucking 10.
Yeah. That's
They're Aaron Teagues. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. We saw what Aaron did to
Yeah.
me, right? And so I was like, no, I want to fight my age group. But my thought process was like, dude, if you're an ultra heavyweight, most guys that are 45 years old in the ultra heavyweight division are carrying a decent amount of body fat around.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth of what you see.
Yeah.
And then that was the truth.
Right. You're not getting a random Bushesha.
You're not getting a random fucking 7% body fat at 260.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and so if guys are carrying some more body fat around, I was actually like, you know what, that's going to play into my game because I'll probably be a better athlete than them. And then that's exactly how it transpired. But you know what, there probably is some 45-year-old Boucher out there, not to his level of knowledge, but just the physicality of him. And so,
Some dude who works concrete.
oh, dude, I know. Isn't it fucking fascinating? And you're one of those guys too, being a carpenter. You work with your hands day in and day out.
Yeah.
The guys that work with their hands, you, Drew,
Tyler
Stanaway, the guys that work with their hands have a level of, I don't even know if strength's the right word.
It's like tendon strength.
Yes, it's just like toughness of your tendons and your bones and your ligaments
Yeah.
that you don't get working at an office.
Right.
And it's like, dude,
You can't get it in the gym.
that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those guys, bro. I was a police officer, I was a ranger, and like those professions for me came with a tremendous amount of physical training. But my training was CrossFit in the weight room and jiu-jitsu. And while I feel like I grew into like a strong, powerful athlete, it ain't the same as the guys that swing a hammer all day.
Right. But like it's similar to, have you seen those videos of the bodybuilders lifting with the rock climber?
No.
It's wild. So huge bodybuilder type dudes, right? And they're doing like rows. And then there's a professional rock climber. He's built like me, wire-ear. And he's doing the same lifts. And they're just blown away. Because all that dude does is hang his body weight all day. And he can do one arm, 3-finger pull-ups and stuff.
I have seen those climbers doing that shit, dude. Like one finger on a little ledge.
Yeah.
And just doing pull-ups.
Doesn't make sense.
Like, bro, at the fittest I ever was, I could do one full dead hang, one arm pull-up. And I thought that was pretty good, right? And then 2 arms, I could do 40 dead hangs.
Okay.
So to be able to do like knock out multiple 1-arm pull-ups like those guys, they have to be doing like 100 pull-ups or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucking cool,
Dude,
man.
it's really cool.
We need to get one of those guys into jiu-jitsu.
I know. I thought the one in the Hamlins was a rock climber.
Oh, I'm not sure. But
I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me because they're all good athletes.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, let's keep going on jiu-jitsu, but I want to take the opportunity to kind of tell like your story as an athlete playing hockey, and then what called you to the mats, and then what that felt like. Because I do want to tell the story of where you're like, well, we'll let you tell it, but you didn't think jiu-jitsu was going to be what it was, I guess we could say.
Right. And I've been like all over the place. But anyway, like last thought on teaching. So there's a huge difference for me between helping teach the kids class and kind of helping teach the kids class more, and then the first time you went out of town and said, hey, go ahead and run the gym, basically. Like teach whatever you want, teach the adults class, have at it. And like I totally overdid the assignment. Like I basically wrote like a seminar. I came in with notes and wanted to teach something really cool, right?
Bro, you're gonna benefit being over prepared every day of the week than under prepared.
But man, the difference between just helping out with kids class, well, not teaching, helping out with kids class and ukeing, and then running a full class. Dude, I learned so much from that.
Tell me what you learned, bro. Just explain how that felt.
Every time I do it, whatever I teach that day gets so much tighter.
Isn't that cool?
It's wild. Like I've been really interested in the weird lapel guards, right? Like squid guard, worm guard. So I taught worm guard. And after that class, my worm guard was wicked. And just yesterday, I didn't have anything planned. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you and Igor are teaching. We're like, oh, okay. So let's do spider guard. I don't know if they know spider guard. My spider guard was super tight. And I was just like, I'm just going to play with this all night long. And I only played spider guard. I was sweeping huge guys. Like,
really?
Oh, yeah. It was wicked cool. Every single time.
Because I think about this too, because I've noticed that over the years. And it's like your ability to implement a move probably doesn't really change dramatically over a 45-minute block of instruction, right? But I think it's like you refresh it in your brain, you revisit the angles, you revisit the details, and now not only does it kind of like sharpen that blade a little bit, but I also think it puts it front and center, and then it allows you to focus on that. And when you can focus
Yeah.
on something, I feel like you have more confidence in it. And then it's like, okay, let's see how this goes. Because I've noticed that too. Like you teach something and then that night it's kind of on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really weird.
And dude, everybody, I love when I'm out of town because I'm out of town all next week too. I'm traveling again. And whenever class is covered by someone and then I get text messages, it's like, dude, Jake's classes are fucking radical.
That's rad.
That for me is one of the most, I guess I like, from a coach's perspective, that for me says more about you than any gold medal you bring home. Because you are now contributing to the team in a manner that's like elevating everybody else.
Yeah.
And I love that you teach your fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Because bro, I'm not a fancy grappler. I'm just by the nature of who I am on the mats, I'm not going to be able to teach worm guard or squid guard like you can. And so it allows the team to get a fresh perspective because there's plenty of guys that will probably follow in your footsteps at some point and play a more technical game or play those fancier things. And so it allows exposure to people that don't get that stuff from me. And what we don't want to do here, I didn't name this place Greg Anderson Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Right.
My goal is not for everybody to be me. My goal is to have a facility where people can come in and find their jiu-jitsu.
Right. So like when I did my first class, I remember thinking like all the black belts kind of have their own style
Yeah.
that they teach, right? And I was like, well, who do I want to be? Like, this is my debut. Like, who am I going to be? And then I was like, well, just be you. So just do something you think is cool. Like, and if people don't like it, then screw them. You know?
Yeah.
So out the gate, I was like, we're going to do worm guard. And everyone was like, fuck yeah. Okay.
Dude, that makes me happy too, because like there's plenty of times where I kind of say like, hey, that's not my game, but I want to be careful. I don't mean like people should be turned off by that, you know? Because I always say like, go grapple Aaron Teagues or Keenan Cornelius and tell me fancy guards don't work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, every time you teach, I get feedback and people are like, that was so fun. And
rad.
fun is the word
Yeah.
that comes up.
I put a lot of focus on bringing the energy,
Yeah.
you know, because we've all been in classes where it's low energy or like someone's not super interested in teaching. You're like, dude, come on.
But bro, it's
But then when someone's really on and you're like, that class was amazing. So I want to bring that energy.
the vibe that you bring on the mats is, I would say, is more important than the technique you bring. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can just be this super happy, fun guy and have a McDojo level of jiu-jitsu. You
Right.
need the baseline of jiu-jitsu to be real, obviously. But after that, like there's plenty of like Brazilian world champions that if you slap and bump, they'll fucking murder you. But the vibe they give off is like they're just doing it because they know they're getting $65 to teach this class.
Right. There's, brr.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, are you here for $65 or are you here to really share your jiu-jitsu with the team? And that's the difference. That's where the magic
Everyone can
happens.
feel it.
And bro, that's why I was very, very drawn to Joao, like instantly. And now you've worked with Joao, you've seen him enough over the years where it's like, he's just a fun person to be around.
Yeah. He's got a presence.
He has a presence.
Yeah.
Someone told me, and it might have been you, someone told me last time he was here, they're like, dude, one of my favorite parts of Joao is just listening to him talk.
Dude. Yeah.
Like, dude, I could
Totally.
I could just listen to that guy talk.
Yeah.
Because it goes into the presence that you were saying, you know? But it's not like, it's funny because he's a black belt world champion level grappler, but the presence has nothing to do with like fucking bravado or toughness. It's like he always says, he's the surfer of jiu-jitsu, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kick back, let's have fun, but we're doing the thing too.
Yeah. Is the whole light vibes, heavy rolls, is that him? Is that his?
I wish it was his.
Oh, okay.
Because that's
he embodies that.
he embodies that. That actually came from Cascade, our neighboring academy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So every time that comes up, I have to give them credit.
yeah.
But
yeah.
to those guys over there, I wish we came up with it.
Totally.
And if we did, we'd have the shirt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, going back, you grew up playing like hockey, what, your whole life, right?
Pretty much my whole life. So I grew up in Colorado, and I've got a big family, right? And we all played hockey. So before we played club hockey, street hockey, it was just the family's game.
Okay.
So I played hockey my whole life. Made it pretty far. I mean, I wasn't going to go like pro, but I played at a pretty high level. I played for Texas, and I played for Vancouver at like the junior A level.
What is the difference between pro and junior A? You were getting paid, right?
Not like collecting a paycheck, but I didn't pay to be there. I had like room and board,
So it's
team nutritionist. We had a bus, designated locker room for the team. Our logo on the ice. You know,
Okay.
we were like
so the
hometown
like the level
team.
of like what the silver tips are.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So in that, there's 3 levels. They'd be like tier 1. There's tier 1, 2, 3, right? So I was like tier 3 of the silver tips level
I see.
type of hockey.
Okay.
Yeah. And the margins there are pretty small.
Oh, bro,
Like
isn't
the difference between those teams is pretty small, but the difference between the silver tips and like pro is honestly massive.
is it really?
Yeah.
So like from a typical tier 1 team like the silver tips, how many guys from that team do you think go to like the NHL? What percentage?
Man, it can't be a lot because they're all kind of at the same age as the guys who are in the NHL. So a lot of the guys who go in the NHL, you know, by the time you're 14,
Oh, they get picked up.
like you're tendered, even if you're not on the team, like the Capitals are looking at you already.
Oh,
Like,
okay. So
By the time you're
was
14, 15, like you already know.
I was kind of under the assumption that it's like whatever the kid leagues are, you play that, and then you go into these like lower tiered teams, like you're talking about, and then you get drafted from there. But that's not typically how it works, huh?
Not necessarily, no. I mean,
Are they still recruiting out of those teams too? If guys are becoming high performers?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But
Does-
like they look at college a lot too. So there's kind of the junior A network where I went, and then there's like the college network, and those both kind of feed into the pros.
Okay.
But the pros know who they're looking at. You know, you're not gonna, if you're already 18, you're not gonna work your ass off and get picked up by the Penguins if you're not already on that trajectory very
Okay.
directly. So the level that I was at, nobody was going to the NHL.
Oh, I see.
Nobody. From the silver tips, I don't know, maybe 2 in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Maybe. And they're like third liner guys, not starters.
Is every dude there like hoping that that's the path, or is it just like, hey, I know where I'm at and I'm just here for the love of the game?
Yeah, it's more the love of the game. You
Okay.
just want to play hockey,
Yeah.
you know? Like you just love it. And you want to play competitive hockey, you want to be good. And you feel like a superstar because you're like the hero of this small town.
Well, bro,
You know,
and
it's your
you're
team,
filling
you know?
arenas and you're playing hard,
Yeah.
having fun.
It's the best.
Okay.
It's so fun. But so yeah, anyway, I played hockey and it was awesome.
Lost your teeth, right?
I did. I got a bunch of fake teeth. They say they're kind of a different color. They fucked me up.
Oh, I didn't. Dude, I've never noticed that before.
Yeah. So that one's fake. It's not dead.
I mean, we've been friends for what, 4 years now?
Yeah.
And I couldn't pronounce your last name today.
Dude, nobody can.
And I didn't.
It's weird.
And I didn't know that your teeth are different colors.
Yeah. Yeah. So we moved here from Colorado and my folks started a business. They own a cabinet shop. And so I started playing hockey up here. I moved away and I was playing hockey for Texas and I came home and I was like 17, 18 and was kind of trying to decide, am I going to keep chasing this dream? Kind of like we were just talking about. Like, I'm not going to go pro. Do I want to keep doing this and pursuing this just for fun? Or should I start working and looking at like real life? Then I was doing some work in my dad's cabinet shop and that's when I cut my hand.
Yeah.
So I run my hand through the table saw, cut off some fingers, they stick them back on. But that'll end a hockey career
Here,
really quick.
show the camera your hand, how it's all taped up.
So
So you tape, because every time I see you, your fingers are taped, and I figure that's just because we're training. You tape them when you're not training, huh?
So this one's just because I blew out a ligament last night.
Oh.
No, I usually don't. But so like this one barely goes like that. This one's fused. They took my thumbprint from there. Like I really messed it up.
Yeah, you
bad.
lost 3 fingers, right?
Not like all the way. This one was like gone. This one was like 70% of the way through. This one took the front of the finger and front of the thumb off.
Okay.
So if this is the blade, my hand kind of came down like this. Just.
Why weren't you using a push stick like they tell you to use in shop class?
So what was happening? I was ripping a really wide piece of hickory, and it was an old saw with no guards and stuff. And on like good saws, there's something behind the blade, like a piece of metal sticks up. It's called a splitter. What it does is prevent the wood from going like this and warping in on itself.
Is that what causes kickback then?
It can, yeah.
Okay.
And so the wood started to kind of twist, and I put my hand down on it to keep it going straight. And I was wearing a flannel with cuff undone, and I was pushing it through, and it caught that flannel, and it pulled my hand into the blade as the board warped.
It's like the worst, just the perfect storm, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I was like 18, dumb, in the shop by myself. Probably shouldn't have been pushing wood that big.
Most people in that industry have had a run-in with a table saw?
Maybe not most, but a good bit. Everybody's got to run in with something, you know.
You lose your teeth in hockey, that gets you some street cred, right? Because I remember you were telling me, you're like, dude, when I lost my teeth, I was like, fuck yeah, I made it, right?
Yeah, like you're a hockey player, you gotta have no teeth. And so I had a flipper for the longest time. You know, they're like on a retainer.
Yeah, so you could pull your teeth out. And
yeah,
like,
let everybody know.
So you got your street cred on the ice by losing your teeth, and then you got your street cred in the carpenter shop by cutting your fingers off. Well, dude, like, I mean, my grandpa sawed his thumb off doing that. He was sawing shingles, right? Mm-hmm. But it was gone from here down my whole life. He had a nub.
Damn.
So, like, maybe, obviously, the massive advances in medical technology and whatnot. But the fact that, like, they were able to reattach everything, and your grip fighting is, I would argue, better than mine. So your hands fucking work pretty well.
Dude, so it was because I was an athlete. So it was supposed to be amputated. And I remember just being like, please no. Like, because I played guitar at the time too. And I was like, dude, please don't. Like, there's got to be something you can do. And it just so happened that like the best hand surgeon in the nation happened to be at Harborview that day. And he's like, we've got this experimental surgery that you happen to like qualify for based off like your blood work and your resting heart rate and in how good a shape you are. Like if anybody's limb's going to be reattached, it should be you.
Wow.
And so I was like, well,
you're the perfect candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's so fascinating how it was the perfect storm for you to lose your fingers. And then hours later, the perfect storm to have them reattached, right?
Yeah.
Because if any other surgeon was there, it sounds like it wouldn't have worked, huh?
No, they were like, there's no chance.
Wow.
Absolutely not. And this one guy was like, you know, we could take a swing at it. But like, because if it doesn't work, you're just back at where you are now, which is no finger, you know?
Dude, I watched a documentary last night about a South African doctor who did the first heart transplant ever.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same shit with your finger. Like somewhere, sometime, somehow, there has to be a doctor that's like, hey, this is outside of like our normal protocol, but I want to give this a try. Let's see what's up with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what was that surgery like then?
So the surgery wasn't too bad. I mean, obviously they knock you out for it. It was a couple of hours or whatever, but then I just had this palm full of stitches forever. My hand was all swollen, huge cast mitten thing. And then the worst pain I've ever been in, and I don't know why, never forget this, was the day the lady was pulling the stitches out of the front of my thumb. And they kind of had a curtain over it, right? So I can't look at it. And I thought she was cutting into my thumb with a scalpel, with a MAP gas torch or something.
Dude,
I don't know.
It's just hitting a nerve ending.
Oh my God. And I had to regrow nerves in my fingers. And the first thing that comes is like heat. So everything feels like it's on fire, like you're holding a Bic lighter to it forever.
Really?
So the recovery was pretty brutal.
I've heard nerve regrowth is literally like a millimeter a month or something tremendously slow.
Yeah.
Does that something like that sound possibly accurate?
Right. Yeah.
So then that means your recovery, because what year did you lose your fingers?
Oh boy. Man, I don't even remember, but so I'm 31 now. I was 18.
Okay. So it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but I babied it forever. This was my crippled hand. And I do everything with this hand. And I used to kind of hold it like this and close to my chest and stuff. And it was an excuse, kinda, just it's crippled. I can't do anything with it. It's how it is.
An excuse, or maybe you're just thinking, that's how it is.
Yeah. And it was all atrophied and small and Nosferatu-y, bony,
I'm going to use that. Nosferatu.
Because I've only got half of the blood vessels in these two fingers. They'd turn blue all the time, and I'd keep them in my armpit, and it was a real problem. And then I went rock climbing with a buddy and just thought it was so fun and just kept going and going and going and going. And all of a sudden, my hand was strong, and I'm hanging on stuff with just this hand. And one day, and I'm starting to get some confidence in it, like, holy shit, like my hand works. And this was like 6 years ago.
Okay.
It was all.
So then you babied that thing for fucking ever.
Oh, yeah. And one day I'm climbing and I've got my fingers up on like a pocket like this, and I feel the middle one pop. And I think like, oh, buddy, you did it now. Like, you messed your finger up. But what it was a tendon pulling through one of the pulleys in my knuckle through some scar tissue. And all of a sudden I can move it again.
Isn't
like
that
better.
The shit,
dude? It could
dude?
move like that much before. And then all of a sudden it pops and I can do this. And I realized like, oh, my hand can be plenty strong. And I started working it out. Now it's just as strong as this hand. Like, this is my main gripping hand.
Movement is healing, dude.
Yeah.
And that has been something that's really changed the perspective on healing. Because it wasn't that long ago when it's like, if you get injured, it's the RICE protocol. You ever heard that? Rest, ice, compression, elevation.
Yes.
And now it's like, oh, no. Movement is healing.
Yeah.
Because what does movement cause? Movement causes blood flow. And blood flow is what brings the nutrients to start to bring healing to whatever the tissue injury is. When I lived in California, you can see my pinky, how it's like, you're like, yeah, bro, that's nothing. I cut my fingers off, right? But my pinky doesn't close very well.
Oh, yeah.
When I lived in California, it was like this.
Okay.
Because by that point, I was still like a decade deep into jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And I'd fucked my finger up. And I was at Starbucks with my buddy, Charles Dara. And I don't remember how, like, somehow it came up and he's like, he has this really deep voice. He goes, bro, let me see your hand. I said, see? And he goes like this and just goes, crunch, and crunched my finger all the way down. And he goes, there, we probably fixed that. Bro, it fixed it. My pinky closes now.
That is rad.
But it's the similar concept that you were just discussing. It's like, hey, my fingers don't close. Hey, that's just life now because they got injured.
Right.
And he broke like whatever the cartilage was in there. Because same thing, I felt it and heard it pop, crackle.
Yeah.
And I mean, fuck, I moved home from California in 2014. So it's been a decade and it's worked ever since.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
And he was the one that he explained this to me. He goes, bro, our hands are so fucked up from jiu-jitsu that you have to, he didn't call it a Graston tool because we didn't know what that was back then. He says, I take a butter knife and put coconut oil on it. And he goes, and I grind all my fingers to keep that cartilage pliable.
Totally.
So it's funny because I actually talked to him last week and he's like, I quit jiu-jitsu, bro. That shit's just too hard on my body. I'm done with it.
Dude, I've blown out every ligament in my fingers. I swear to God. I'm getting so tired of breaking fingers.
So when you say you blew out that ligament yesterday, what is that? What do you mean by that?
Playing spider guard, and somebody tried to jack their arm out because I've got their sleeve wrapped up like this, and it twisted the tip of my finger like all the way that way, and I felt it pop, and then all of a sudden I could turn the tip like this. So I'm sure one of these lateral like ligaments.
Oh,
popped.
I wonder if it like, can you dislocate like the knuckles, like the actual knuckles in your phalanges?
Probably. I don't know. Well, maybe it did that. I just know it's real sore today, so I taped it up.
Bro, this episode is not gonna help people become like advocates for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, everything hurts and it's great.
Yeah, so yeah, my fingers getting pulled out of socket and this and that. But so dude, then you had that moment where you're climbing, it pops, you regain function, and that was kind of like, oh,
yeah,
I can heal if I want to.
Oh yeah.
So then I know you kept rock climbing. That was a passion for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. Was there anything else that you did to like continue to heal, or was that just like your movement medicine?
Did a lot of rock climbing. I used to run a lot. I really like running.
Do you run still?
Not as much. A little bit. That's probably the one that I keep up with more than going to the gym.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu and running. But no, just kind of that. But I mean, so after my hand accident, it kind of sent me into this weird like spiral in life.
Oh, I'm sure,
like,
bro. Because you were an elite athlete playing sports.
And then now I'm just kind of at work at the family business. You know what I mean? And so my whole life is just kind of like, I didn't really know what was going. So I've lived all these weird lives, it feels like. Kind of like you talk about seasons in life.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a bunch of them happen real quick. And then started to kind of stabilize, started rock climbing, got married, starting to get kind of straightened out, right? Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened. And that's when I kind of quit rock climbing and was looking for something else to do.
Were you, was your gym the one there in Everett, like on Rucker?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My daughter's trained there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool place.
Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
So they closed down for COVID, and then it's like, what's next?
Yeah. And I needed something. And I had emailed you like a year before I started because I was interested in jiu-jitsu, because I was into, Rogan and Jocko especially and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, there's a jiu-jitsu gym across the street. I live right across the street, basically. And I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. And I emailed you, and I remember you being like, oh, yeah, you're going to feel like a fish out of water, but come on in, dude. And I was like,
I'm going to try and find that email.
Okay. I think I've got it.
Yeah.
But then I didn't. I kind of chickened out. I was just nervous.
Chickened out? Okay, so there was literal nerves around it.
But it wasn't about the fighting. It was about it's more like a social anxiety thing. Like, it was just nervous to get around a new group of people, like try a new thing.
Bro, I tell people all the time, the hardest part of becoming a part of a new team, it's walking through the door.
Yeah.
It's not getting armbarred, it's not getting taken down. It's walking through the door. Because for most people, and me included, man, like walking through a door that is a foreign activity, foreign people, foreign culture, like, and I don't mean foreign as in like nationality. I just mean like it's outside of your norm. That's a big step to take. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah. Like whatever it is, let alone something like jiu-jitsu that's
and bro,
close contact.
Bro, think about this too. This is a guy who played fucking competitive high-level hockey, lost all his teeth, fucking fighting dudes, like gnarly fucking athlete, and you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Think about how Asia feels when she walked in here.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
It's nerve-wracking.
It really lets you know, like, man, when you show up and you commit to this, that in itself, it takes a decent amount of courage.
It does. It's easier once you get there, though.
100%. Yeah, of course.
It's literally, it's taking the leap and sending the email and driving to the gym, and you go, okay. And then you go inside, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm here. Like, now let's see what this is about.
Yeah.
You're over that first hurdle once you just get to the gym.
Yep. And you were the last generation of upstairs guys.
Yeah. I came in right, not at the end of that, but
like a year before that, right?
A year before that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was kind of that feeling. Like, as soon as I got here, I was like, all right, like, I'm here. And we did our first class, and I was like, I am in.
Do you remember any details of that first night? Because I think of my first night of jiu-jitsu, I don't even have a recollection of it.
No, I don't.
I mean, I have a recollection of getting my ass kicked in Iraq. That was like the catalyst for me to be like, what the fuck is this?
You know what? I do.
Okay.
Because you taught Ezekiel chokes.
Okay.
From guard. So that was the only thing I knew in my head was grab sleeve, do this. And then you were rolling with me because I was the day one new dude, and you do that for kind of everybody.
Yeah, I
tried
tried to.
At the time, right?
Well, especially when the gym was smaller, like we had the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah. And you had me in your closed guard, but I got my hand under your head and I was like, okay, Ezekiel choke. And I put it on, but I was in your guard. And I remember you just like flexed your neck and just like
popped
and just looked dead in my eyes. And I was like, okay, not now then.
I was like,
I totally remember that.
It doesn't work.
Right.
Unless you're Daniel. He still does that to people.
I know. And then I remember getting just crushed constantly. Like for the first 3 classes, just beat up like Blue Belt Bob,
Oh,
Skylar, and Zach.
Fuck. Blue Belt Bob.
Dude, and I was not prepared to get my ass kicked that bad because I thought like hockey dudes are tough.
Yeah.
And we've got like maybe not a reputation, but yeah, like a reputation. And within the hockey
certainly
community,
have a reputation.
we're the hockey players are the baddest motherfuckers. Like we beat the shit out. We could beat the shit out of football players. We can beat the shit out of like everybody.
He would definitely beat the shit out of basketball players.
Absolutely, we are the manliest. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be good at this. It's gonna be fine. You know, I just listened to podcasts. People talk about how fun it is. I'm just gonna go have fun, and I'm gonna be amazing. And then I got smashed, and it was a total reality check.
I love that, bro. Because, like, don't get me wrong, toughness does play a role in jiu-jitsu. If you're mentally and physically tough, that is going to serve you on the mats. But mental toughness alone, it's not going to carry you far.
No,
You know?
dude. Well, mental toughness will carry you far because you'll be kind of need to go through it a bit. You need to go through that phase.
No, for sure. But I should say it has to be mental toughness paired with technical abilities.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. That's how you find the technical abilities. Is you gotta be tough.
And so, fuck, man, I forgot. I guess I shouldn't say I forgot. I just haven't thought of Blue Belt Bob in a long time.
Dude, right?
Blue Belt Bob was my favorite when he was White Belt Bob because it doesn't matter. It didn't matter who you were in the gym, white through black belt. Mm-hmm. He brings a problem to the table for anyone to solve. And, he was fascinating for me because he had a rugby background and bro, he could take everybody down.
Yeah.
His takedowns were gnarly. And I remember I was like, dude, did you wrestle? He goes, no, I just played rugby. I was like, well, dude, how can you run fucking single legs like you run? How can you hit blast doubles? He goes, bro, I think he calls it the scrum. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
He goes, bro, in the scrum, we're taking people down. And he's like, and we are trained in that. And so it's like, it's almost, I don't know if I want to say better than wrestling, but if you're learning how to take people down in absolute pure chaos, because that's what a scrum would be, right? That'd be probably.
Right.
And he told me, he's like, dude, they're like biting each other and poking each other in the eyes. Like, bro, they do gnarly fucking shit in there.
Yeah.
And it's intentional. Like, hey, if I can get one in where the ref can't see it, we're going to get one in.
Right.
So it's like this really, and bro, that's why to this day, it's like, dude, I got this respect for rugby players that I never knew because of Bob.
Yeah.
And so, dude, if you can learn to be a grappler in that environment, and then you come here, it's like,
oh man,
ooh, we're just chilling out, having fun, and that's why he was always smiling. Do you remember that?
Always.
Yeah, dude.
Constantly.
Like, dude, every minute on the mats for him was fun. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, you just said it. Jiu-jitsu's fun. I think jiu-jitsu's fun too, but I don't think it's fun when something goes catastrophically wrong and now I'm neon bellied by somebody bigger and better than me, right?
Right.
It didn't matter where Bob was at. It's like you could put him in the worst positions and he's just smiling.
Yeah, he's like
and having fun. Yeah, I'm a little sick, so sorry I'm coughing into the mic. That's life though.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I forgot that he was part of your fucking welcome aboard packet.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you heard the story about him demolishing a brand new day one black belt. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
So, bro, this guy showed up. And I normally don't talk shit about people on the show, but you know what? You bring that energy to my mats, dude, kind of fuck you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He showed up as a black belt. Mm-hmm. Which, if you move across country or you have a falling out with your team or whatever the case may be, there are times when people have to find a new team as a black belt.
Right.
Right? But anytime someone is looking for a new team as a black belt, for me, it's a red flag right away. Unless you've moved for work or something, right? And it's like, okay, I understand. This makes sense. But if you're a local guy that's looking for a new team, what's going on
Right,
here?
there's something going on.
You know? And I don't even remember the guy's name. So like, and I wouldn't put it out there anyways. So he comes here and it's his first day as a black belt and we hadn't even trained yet. And he's like, hey man, I'm looking for a new gym. I want to sign up. And he didn't do like a trial week because, bro, this guy knows jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt. He's looking for a new team and he, for whatever reason, he's landed on us. Cool, right? Get you signed up. And then he's like, and I would like to be one of the coaches for your kids program.
Right.
Red flag number 2.
Unvetted.
Right?
Just random
like, bro,
guy.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if you're a IBJJF black belt world champion. My kids are fucking sacred. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would have way more comfort letting somebody hop into 101 than I would hopping in with the kids.
Right. That's an invite only
That's
situation.
it. Yeah, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? You want to be part of my kids program.
Yeah.
And so I'm never a dick to people out of the gates. You know what I mean? Like the bells and whistles were going off in my head, but I also am not going to be like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? I met you 4 minutes ago, right? I was just like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it's something along the lines, you know, we're not looking for anyone right now. Everything's covered, but we'll just see how things play out, you know? And then we rolled and bro, he felt like a shitty blue belt.
Okay.
And that's not me casting shade at him. That's his jujitsu.
Right.
And so now I'm like, wait, what is happening? You come here as you have a black belt on, but you feel like a shitty blue belt. And then he started looking for easy rolls after I kicked his ass.
Okay.
He started looking for fucking, and bro, I'm observant. I'm paying. You show up here as a black belt. I'm gonna watch and see what the fuck's up with you, right? Then he started seeking white belts only,
And he finds white belt.
and he
Bob.
finds white belt Bob.
Oh fuck.
So what does white belt Bob do to people with shitty blue belt level jiu-jitsu? You already know. And bro, he fucking humiliated this guy. And he fucking did whatever he wanted to him and submitted him plenty of times.
Yeah.
And that's a white belt doing that to a black belt.
Right.
That's not supposed to happen in jiu-jitsu.
No.
And don't get me wrong. Bob was a very, very like unusual, like for him to be who he was from rugby without a background in jiu-jitsu, it defied logic to me, right? I struggled with him.
Right. But he still had white belt jiu-jitsu.
But
Black belt should have
but I still beat
an answer.
I still beat Bob and Bob was not beating me, right?
Right.
At a minimum, okay, maybe you can't take him down. Cool. You should still be able to have your black belt level of jiu-jitsu carry you through the roll, even though it's a pretty gnarly fight just because he's a fucking animal, right? Not this guy. Did whatever he wanted to him. We get an email that night, and it wasn't even addressed to me. I'll never forget it. It said, hey, Jenny, I signed up at the gym tonight, but some things have come up, and I realize it's not going to work out for me there.
Dude.
And so it's like, I should have fucking...
Walk
I should have
shame.
brought fucking Bob a fucking present or something. Because it's like, dude, you just ended what would have inevitably been a shitty scenario anyways. Because, bro, one thing that I pride myself on in this gym, and I think that you will echo this sentiment, is our black belts don't hide from people.
No.
Ever.
No.
Our black belts don't hide from people. Our black belts are here, and win, lose, or draw, we don't really care, but our black belts put it on the line every single night that they're here. Like Mark is a perfect example. Because let me guess, and this isn't dude, Mark has great jiu-jitsu, but there's probably times that you have some success against Mark, right?
Sure.
And that's because you are a really, really good purple belt. And Mark is now, I think he's like 56 or 57, and he's going through some fucking shoulder issues. He has like half the mobility that he used to have.
Yeah. He's a farmer, and I'm 20 years younger than him.
That's what I'm saying. But guess what? When he shows up, he puts it on the line, and he doesn't care who you are.
Right.
Every single night. And I think that's kind of the ethos of this team. It's like, dude, don't come and train if you're not willing to put it on the line. You're going to get more buy-in from people if I train with them and lose than if I duck them.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was talking to Adam about this a week or two ago. I was like, dude, the passing of the torch, we're starting to witness it. Us guys like me and Andy and Mark. Daniel's not part of this group because Daniel's still like young and fucking savage. But the older black belts, Kozak's another one, right? The black belts that are over 40, we're seeing the next generation of you and Skylar and the Hamblins and these dudes that are just getting really good, really fast. And the gap between the two is closing and the rate is exponential. Mm-hmm. So in 5 years, I'm probably going to be getting beaten on a regular basis. And I don't get beaten right now. Right. I just, the way the dynamics of the gym are, there are guys that can out grapple me. There's a handful of them. But there's not guys that can fucking like take me down and submit me. Mm-hmm. It's just not where it's at. 5 years, we're going to have a different conversation.
Right. But you're not going to duck those people and start seeking out white belts.
No, you
and
can't.
Be like, oh, I just want to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, in full disclosure, there are nights that I do duck guys like Adam.
Yeah.
Because I've been nursing this elbow injury, and it's like, dude, I can't deal with a 245-pound wrestler right now. I just can't.
Right. But it's not the overall attitude.
Even that sometimes makes me feel like a pussy.
Yeah.
You know? And another one of the gym ethos that I try and live by is never turn down a roll. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, unless I'm not training, right? There are nights where I've decided, hey, I'm going to get 1 or 2 rounds in, and then I got to nurse this elbow. And so if someone's like, hey, professor, you want to get a roll? I'm like, no, I'm not rolling the rest of the night, right? But it'll never be like, hey, you want to get a roll? No, not with you, but I'll go with you instead. I really try and avoid that because I think it's, I just think it's bad for culture. If you're training, you're training. And if you're not, you're not. And I think that's what it needs to look like.
No, I do that too. Like, I probably shouldn't say this because I don't know how many of the teammates listen to this, but
all of them, it's mandatory.
I'll scan the room and like maybe avoid eye contact. Like, no, Adam, no. Like, look around. But if someone comes up to me and goes, hey, Jake, do you want to roll? Always yes.
Bro, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm never going to say no.
Bro, there's plenty of nights where I do exactly that. I look around the room and I'm like, who would I like to train with tonight? And bro, if I'm being completely honest, my favorite training partners to do live rolls with are the like you, Skylar, Zach, Drew, the guys that bring really great jiu-jitsu, but also bring like a lot of tenacity around it. Like those are my favorite roles still, right?
Yeah.
And so like I'll look around the room and I'll plan out kind of like who I want to get rounds with tonight. And then there are nights where it's like, dude, I feel fucking tired. Whatever's going on with my personal life or my back's hurt, whatever the case is, where I don't feel like I'm just a motherfucker right now. And I'll be like, hey, let's focus on giving the white belts rounds tonight. So I do that as well.
Yeah.
But even in that, when people come up to me, oh, dude, a perfect example was like, I didn't want to have fucking hard rolls one night. And Harley's like, hey, Greg, you want to get around? I was like, of course, let's go. Because I can't, why would I say no to Harley?
Right.
You know, why would I say no to him? Well, the reason why I would want to is why? Because he fucking kid goes hard.
Always.
Always.
Every single time. The whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know if we could do like a VO2 test or some type of like, you ever seen 14 Peaks?
Oh, yeah.
So remember when they connected Nim's Purja to that mask that was reading his VO2 and they had him do that cycle test? And the doctor's like, you're the best athlete I've ever studied. You know? Put fucking Harley on that.
Dude, he's got to have lungs like a horse. It's unbelievable.
This is a true story, bro. This is the first time I've ever seen this in 21 years of jiu-jitsu. Because I kick the shit out of Harley, and it's because I like him.
Yeah.
And he's tough enough to deal with it, right?
Uh-huh.
Bro, this was a week or two ago. I had him in Mother's Milk Mount. And he bucked as hard as he could for like, it was a 6-minute round. It probably took me a minute or two to get to that position. So I would say 4 minutes of nonstop bucking.
I believe it.
Bro,
Yeah.
try and do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and this is how I knew what he's doing is very exceptional. Bro, I had him mounted in mother's milk and I was the one getting frustrated.
Yeah. Right.
I was, by the end of that roll, I was frustrated because I could not maintain a very, I mean, sure, I'm still in mount. Technically, I have the dominant position, but I could not get my game going because it was just buck, 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 buck. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to let him burn himself out and then I'm taking it to him. And it never happened.
It never happens.
I was like, dude.
Yeah. It's just like, why won't you die? You know?
Yeah.
God.
And he also gets away with some stuff that's kind of outside of what I would say is like, I don't want to say technical jiu-jitsu. We have these kind of like unwritten rules of jiu-jitsu that we kind of adhere to. Mm-hmm. Like, these are the do's and don'ts. Like, he violates a lot of the do's and don'ts because he's scrambly and he can get away with it.
Right.
And anytime someone can violate kind of a jiu-jitsu fundamental that we all kind of agree on, and then it works for him, it kind of makes you reevaluate, like, oh, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And then it starts to support that statement that I always say is like, I don't teach absolutes. Mm-hmm. Like, he has a guard pass, and it's never worked on me, but I've seen it work on other people where he just like spins his body.
Yeah, and it kind of like torques your knees and hips around, and all of a sudden he's through.
And it's stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? That doesn't, oh, wait, okay.
Yeah. Totally.
Fuck, dude. Where were we at on your journey? We always get fucking sidetracked.
I don't know. I mean, we kind of made it to jiu-jitsu.
You,
That's how I got here.
You showing up? The blue belt Bob was kind of the end of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, at that point now, you're realizing, oh, I'm not who I thought I was. So I'm all in.
Yeah. And also, like I said, I was kind of living all these weird sporadic lives all over the place. And I never really felt like I fit in anywhere, you know? Especially like moving across the country at a formative age and never really settling into anything in high school, and then hockey, and then over here, right? Like, I just never really fit in anywhere. But then you find the jiu-jitsu gym, and suddenly I did. And I met Zach, and I met Skylar, and all of a sudden I got these buddies that I just really connected with right out the gate. And I was like, these are my people.
Fuck yeah.
Holy
dude.
shit. Even to the point, and it's probably not true, but I've thought about, like, if I were to move for like work or something, it's like, would I want to keep going with jiu-jitsu? Because do I love jiu-jitsu or do I love this gym? You know?
Bro,
like, the culture here is so good.
I mean, Steven Hand, he just moved and he joined a new gym.
Yeah.
And he just wrote me a couple weeks ago and said, I left that gym. I'm looking for a new one.
Yeah.
Because he's not finding what he left.
Right.
And I know that I'm a little biased because this is our team and our facility, but I feel like this team is very diligent in creating a culture that is built on like camaraderie more than, obviously, again, you can't be a McDojo. You have to have a base level of jiu-jitsu that's legit, and we have the legit jiu-jitsu. All right, so we can check that block. We have legit jiu-jitsu. That's only one of the tiers, though, to build a strong team.
Right.
You have to have legit jiu-jitsu, and then you have to pair it with legit culture. And when you can do those two things, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. You get lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. The amount of people who come in here, like visitors, just kind of swinging through, it's every single one of them is just like, yo, this is something special. This is a cool gym. You know, there's a couple of people recently who visited from like Bellingham, and they were like, where the fuck was this? Just, you're here in a barn? This is what's happening here?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. And they're like, it's always like this? Like, yeah, dude, this is just Wednesday.
Well, dude, Friday.
It's every day.
Friday night after practice, we Anthony plugged a crock pot in that had venison chili. And I wanted to give some other people a shout out that brought some good stuff, but I forget who brought what. But regardless, we just kind of had like a little impromptu team party. And we had probably 15 people out on the picnic tables. Annie brought her mom.
Cool.
And we had a fucking meal together. And then we just fucking shared stories and laughed and sat around a bonfire from my fireside. You seen my electric jiu-jitsu bonfire?
Yep.
And Anthony's looking at it and he's like, dude, what other gyms have this or do this? You know? And one of the interesting things about it, I was like, bro, you know why this works here? Is because I used to live in this house right here. And you know what? We said, we're going to build a gym in our backyard. And so now we can fucking have a bonfire right out front of the practice. And guys can smoke joints if they want to. And guys can fucking, like, we have the autonomy to just kind of be us. But if this was in, like, 90% of jiu-jitsu academies are in, I mean, they're in all kinds of different areas, but sometimes they're in strip malls. Sometimes they're in, like, industrial warehouses. Right. But regardless, very few locations are conducive to, like, hey, we're done training. Let's build a big bonfire on the front porch of the gym.
Yeah, right.
And it's just allowed us to kind of have the freedom and autonomy to allow this team to kind of do whatever they want. And it's fucking radical, dude.
Yeah. I mean, just some of the most important relationships I've ever forged in my life or at this gym. I mean, the amount of growth since I've started here that has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. It's pretty unbelievable, you know?
Dude, talk to me about that, and because I think that, in my opinion, is the most misunderstood or maybe underrated aspect of jiu-jitsu.
So, like, for a long time, I wanted to quit the family business and go do my own thing, but it was scary because that's all I really knew how to do. That was like my whole world for a long time, right? And when I finally did and I was making that transition, it was really hard. And I remember talking to you about it, and you kind of told me about the seasons in your life thing. And that gave me a lot of hope because it was like, I just have to make it through this winter kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep being consistent with jiu-jitsu and being around these people who have good energy, and they're there to pick you up, you know?
Yeah.
They're there to carry you along with them. And I'm just going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep working at this. And it carried me through that. And all of a sudden, I was through it. Like,
what were your reservations about leaving the family business? Like, were you afraid it was going to let your family down?
Yeah, that, and then it was just, my whole world was real small.
Yeah.
And it was just everything. But then I came here, and suddenly my world's a little bigger. And so I start to feel like I can have room to expand it more, move out of that, right? It's like, this isn't serving me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in this tiny little box. It's an absurd amount of stress and anxiety. But now I've got this community of support, and I'm learning more about being a man. I feel more confident about myself. You know, I'm getting stronger. I feel like I can defend myself. That goes a long way.
It goes so fucking far, dude.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm more confident, and I'm like, you know what? I can fucking do this. And I've got all these people to support me along the way. And I've got all these people that if I've got problems, I can ask, you know, because we train with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I was talking with Adam about stocks the other day. He helped me with, I've never had a portfolio before. Now I do.
Talk to Jennifer Anderson too, bro.
I talked to Jenny.
Okay.
She hooked it up. The amount of resources and connections in this gym is amazing.
Bro, like not
That's a
only
weird
like
way to put it, but
well, not only personally but professionally. Like, hey, I need help with plumbing. Drew. Hey, dude, I got you. What do you need? I need help with anything with like construction or excavating. Shane, what do you need? Right? It's like we almost have someone for nearly everything, but it doesn't. But there's also not an expectation on that too. You know?
right.
Like it's funny because me and Drew, I think it was Drew, were talking about this a week or two ago, where it's like, maybe we should put a board up where everybody can like write their name and their expertise.
Yeah, right.
But we
That'd be cool.
but we have to be very careful with that too, that it doesn't come with expectation, right? Because if it's like, all right, Drew Hamblin, plumber, and then you don't use him for whatever reason, that's not a sad story.
Right.
Like this can't come with expectations. This just needs to come with like, hey, these are your teammates' expertise. And if you want to support them, go look at the board and it has everybody's contact numbers or whatever the case may be. Right. But I think that that's an important aspect of kind of like building the trust and the community support. It's like, hey, like, dude, I was out of town and one of my daughters share a bathroom. There's 2 sinks in there. And one of them one of the lines just fucking started leaking.
Yeah.
But here's the weird thing. It wasn't, because Jenny's pretty savvy at this stuff. Normally you can just turn the water off where it comes into from the wall. The break was on the other side of that valve.
Yep.
And so it needed to be addressed right now.
Right.
And Drew came over to the house and fucking fixed it, dude.
Yeah, in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff's important, man.
Yeah.
It's really, really important because, I mean, obviously most of us are trading hours for dollars in our profession. So it's not like, hey, come hook me up because you're my homie. That's not what I want it to be. It's, hey, this is your expertise and we're your team and you can hook us up, but I also want to compensate you. And like, it's not like, oh, we're looking for freebies because we're teammates. It's like, no, we're all here to support each other.
Yes.
Now, with that said, a lot of people are like, nah, dude, don't pay me. I won't accept. Like the last time Drew came out and helped, we slipped some money into his tool bag when he wasn't looking.
Right.
Because it's like, bro, I don't care if it's easy for you or convenient for you. At the end of the day, when you go out of your way for this team and me, there needs to be an exchange of energy. And that's being compensated for your time.
Well, like, I'm a home builder. I want to build you a custom home, a big, crazy custom home where you can park a Andy Stumpf helicopter or something at. And I want you to pay me a shitload of money to do it.
That's right, dude. Yeah. So then when you decided, hey, I want to get out from underneath, I shouldn't even say underneath because that has negative connotations. I want to fly the coop and do my own thing as opposed to being a part of the family business. Jiu-jitsu helped you have the confidence to do that. And then you went into, I mean, you explained going into this new job, but what did that necessarily entail?
So I went from being just a finish carpenter to a full-on home builder. So I'm not like a GC, but I do everything. I'm the on-site carpenter. So, I mean, today I built a custom mantle. I put in floors. I build walls. I do all the finish stuff, super high-end to really, really basic. I'm in charge of making a house.
Does that include framing? Okay.
Everything.
So everything.
Everything. I've done a little bit of concrete, do a little tiling, do a little roofing, but my main shtick is finish carpentry is what I like.
So like and I don't know what my next house is going to be because we're looking for like our forever home and we're kind of torn because part of us is, me and Jenny, part of us is like, hopefully the right thing shows up. But then there's another side of it. It's like, maybe we find a lot and make the right thing.
Yeah.
Is a guy like you, is someone's like, all right, tell me what you want and we make it happen.
That's what we do.
Oh, I like that,
man.
Dude.
And what we specialize in, it's really cool. I mean, there's a lot of dumb, boring details, but think like the Tesla or Apple of house. So like ultra, ultra efficient. Walls that thick filled with insulation so you can heat the entire 8,000 square feet with a little buddy heater. Totally solar, not grid dependent, super hyper efficient, can be built sustainably, like really, really cool stuff. And then really high end finishes, whichever way you want to go.
I'm fucking sold.
Dude.
If we go that route,
cool.
You're building the house.
Hell yeah.
Dude, that's cool, man. And bro, one of my favorite stories that you told me, I just want you to tell it because you said, I forget what level of like supervisor or boss came to your guys's, like where you house all your tools.
Oh yeah. So we keep all of our tools on site. We got big locker cabinets basically with all of our shit in it. Right.
So like if you're building a house on site, you have like a section that it's like, these are the workers' lockers or whatever.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So like in where your garage is, I would set up one of these big steel things and I just keep, it's on wheels. So I come pick it up with a forklift when we're done and it leaves your house. It's not installed, but
Yeah.
I can lock all my shit up on site. So it's always there. I don't have to unload my truck every day.
Got it. And each worker on the site has one of those lockers.
They're communal, but kinda,
Okay.
right? So there's a lot of tools that are just for the job site. And whoever's in charge of the job site supplies the tools.
Got
the
it.
superintendent.
Okay.
If you're a good carpenter, not a piece of shit carpenter, you have your own tools like me. And
And that chick, you said she has a truck full of tools too.
yeah, Deja's fucking rad, dude. She's got promoted. She doesn't build anymore. Anyway, so we've got 3 of these lockers. Basically, 2.5 of them are filled with kind of communal tools. And then I section off this one spot this is where my shit goes. And I like my stuff neat and tidy where I know where it is. I don't like to throw my things in sacks and try to dig through it. So I like set all my stuff on the racks with my batteries are charged and organized. And I know where all my shit is. And then the rest of everything is just all the tools are just sort of thrown in there at the end of the day. And so the site super is looking around where one of the PMs shows up and he's looking around.
Is that project manager?
Yeah, project manager. And they're like, whose shelf is that? You know, the nice stuff. I'm like, mine? They're like, that's the fucking lead right there. Like, you know, that's next superintendent energy right there. And I've been the site lead ever since, pretty much.
So, bro, by being organized and tidy and dress is what they call in the military, it got you a promotion.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not hard to just kind of have your shit together. You know, I organize my workstation, clean it up at the end of the day. Not hard to do.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never been part of the trades. But you see plenty, like when you have contractors come to your house for having a fence built or whatever the case may be. Man, you see pickup trucks that look like they're out of an episode of Hoarders.
Yeah.
Is that very common in the industry?
Super common.
Okay.
Like a lot of guys do that. Just big gang box. They just kind of yard stuff in. I've never been like that. I like organizers that click together. I like all my tools organized. I like to know where my shit is.
Dude, it's interesting to me because it's like that may not have a direct impact on what your finished product is going to look like. But it told the PM a story that he knew, all right, if you're organized and you, as the saying goes, how you do something is how you do everything, right?
Yeah.
So if you pay attention to how your wall locker looks, you're probably going to pay more attention to how the trim looks or how the tile install looks, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, yeah, maybe it doesn't directly impact it, but it absolutely does.
Yeah.
Like, you know which guy you want doing the fine details.
Well, and the leaders,
if you look at their tools.
good leaders, like that PM probably is, it sounds like, they're looking deeper than surface level things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that to him tells a story about who you are. It's like I was talking to Adam and he was talking to, who was he? I don't even know. I'm not going to give any details because I don't want to share a story that may get back to the wrong person. But there was a potential business deal, and they met for dinner, and the guy didn't treat the waitress with respect, and so he's like,
It's not gonna work.
The deal's not going to work."
Yeah.
And it's like, and he told me, he goes, "Dude, I know a guy that if you salt your food, like you go out for a business deal, and if you salt your food before tasting it, he doesn't want to do business with you. Because that tells him that you fall into habits as opposed to showing up with an open mind for each and every project." And I was like, damn, dude. So sometimes high level leaders are looking at all those little details that you might not even be aware of. Now, the salt one for me, I don't think that I necessarily prescribe to that because, dude, I love a lot of salt on my food.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if I salt before trying it or not. But regardless, to me, that might not be the end all be all. But bro, if you treat a waitress with disrespect in front of me, not only would I not want to do business with you, I probably want to fight you.
Yeah.
this fucking 24-year-old girl that's here at work.
Right.
So you get to enjoy a meal. If you want to enjoy a meal, what does that entail? For me, part of a restaurant experience is having good energy with the people that you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I am at ease, I'm treating people with kindness and we're having good banter, good energy. Now I get to enjoy the meal. That's why I never understood like people that treat waitresses like they're your slave. Like, dude, that's the young girl that is making you have the experience that you hope to have.
Mm-hmm.
And you treat her like shit, you're diminishing your own experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, to guys like us, that's common sense. But dude, there's some guys that like, and Adam's also a fucking varsity player in the world of entrepreneurship.
Right.
He's doing fucking like $1 million deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's gross about a lot of people is like you rise to this level of entrepreneurship where you have a tremendous amount of wealth. And for some people, it starts to compromise their morals and their values.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty common, it seems like.
Is it?
You know?
You see that too?
I don't know. Maybe it's not common. Maybe it's just out there because maybe it's just the dickheads who are like the forefront of social media and being fuckheads in public.
Yeah.
And the guys who are wealthy but respectful are, you don't know.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Well, and dude, here's the other thing too. Like, okay, cool. You're more wealthy than her.
Yeah. Congrats.
Congrats. You're also 45 and she's 25.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not that we're comparing each other anyways, because who gives a fuck how many zeros she has in her bank account versus yours, right?
Right, right.
And that's where like, you know, I talk about it on the show often because a lot of people demonize money.
Right.
And it's like money's the root of all evil, or rich people are like, people hate rich people. You hear that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you motherfuckers that act like that are contributing to this false narrative.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't have any type of impact on how people view you as a person based on how many dollars are in your bank account.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But people do.
Right.
You know?
And you know what? That was a big part of how this gym helped me quit that job. Because I was around all these people and it was getting kind of constantly reinforced to me that it was okay to stop chasing money and start chasing happy.
Yeah.
And if you do, and you keep your head in the right place and you keep your heart in the right place and do it for the right reasons, it's going to work out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So chase your dreams a little bit. And so like, yeah, doing jiu-jitsu for a job would be like the dream. I'm working on that because I'm teaching as much as I possibly can. But I've been a carpenter my whole life. So when I was trying to continue further my career as a carpenter, it was like, what do I really want? Well, I want to do the cutting edge, best of the best shit. And I just kept focused on that. And I stopped chasing money and I started chasing happy. And I wound up at this really cool, super cutting edge, doing the best of the best shit. And now I'm a lead for them, you know?
And are you financially better off than you were working with your family?
Took a huge pay cut.
So you're still on that pay cut then?
Yeah, huge pay cut, but I'm so much happier.
Wow.
I love it. Like, I don't need it. Like, my soul's full. I get to come here pretty much as I could possibly please. I'm doing really cool stuff at work. I have tons of time with my wife. Like,
well, bro,
yeah.
that's an important part to fucking bring up too, because it's like money's important. Mm-hmm. Chasing wealth is not a bad thing. Building a path to where you can generate what you deem as being rich, right?
Yeah.
But again, you being a rich man, part of it does have to do with how much money you have, because when you can't pay your fucking mortgage, you don't feel like a rich man, because I've been there.
Right.
And when you have to borrow money to pay your bills, you don't feel like a rich man.
Fuck.
It fucking sucks, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But you can feel like a rich man once you're at the baseline where all my financial needs are met. Now, where do I value growth? Mm-hmm. Do I value growth in making $200,000 more a year? Or do I value being rich by what you just said? You know what? I'm at a place where all my bills are met. but I have autonomy to be with my wife when I want to. I have the autonomy to train on the days I want to train. And it's like, you have to balance, yes, the money, but then balance it with quality of life. And it sounds like you're happy with where you're at right now.
Very much so.
That's fucking rad, dude.
In fact, like it's kind of come up like, hey, Jake, do you want to get further promoted? You know, moving to more of a management type position. And I'm starting to have to balance like, well, man, I got to be at the gym at 4. Like, this is what I fucking do.
Bro, this is my
take away from that.
This is my prediction. This is my prediction. Because they already see your value. They've already given you one promotion. And if they want to give you more promotions, but they understand that it's like, hey guys, I'll give you 100% of my effort from 5 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And if you want me to promote and be the next whatever that title is, cool. But just know that like I can't, for me to maintain my happiness and the positive energy that you guys feel emitting from me, I have to take care of myself on the back end too. And this is kind of like where I'm at on all of it. I bet they'll fucking work with you.
I'll bet they would. Yeah.
I bet they will.
They're very
dude.
Cool.
That's fucking cool, man. It's important. It's important stuff, dude.
Yeah.
And
balance.
yeah, it's balance.
Gotta have balance.
So I think this is the first time I've heard you say teaching jiu-jitsu is the dream.
That's kind of what I'm doing. That's what I've figured out feeds me.
Is that your long-term goal at this point?
Right now, yes.
Opening a gym?
That's what. See, that's where I struggle because it's like.
Because then you would leave here.
Exactly. And it's
Well,
like, damn.
Bro, I'll tell you what,
because
though.
this culture is so special to me.
I'll tell you what. When I left Joao's gym, and again, like I just said, like black belt's leaving, right? I left as a black belt, but I left as a black. He promoted me as I was leaving. That was like Joao's last fucking like, all right, brother, you showed me your worth. You showed me your commitment. You showed me your value. You're now moving and we're sending you off with a black belt. It was after 5 years, you know?
Yeah.
There was a part of me that's like, oh man, like Joao's so cool. He's so fun. The vibes in the gym are always on point. And Electric's not a big academy down in Huntington Beach. It's a small academy. Classes were never huge like we have here, but vibes were always on. And so I was always like, there was an element of like, fuck, man, how am I going to be able to do that?
Right.
And I figured it out. I figured it out. Not trying to be Joao, trying to be me. And so if you reach a point where it's like, all right, I'm ready to do this, you know I'm in your corner, bro.
Totally.
I'll be sad that you're leaving because every time a teammate leaves, the whole team takes a hit.
Yeah.
Like when Marcus left,
dude,
the whole team took a hit. When Stephen Hand left, the whole team takes a hit. And it sucks on one hand, but people are fucking living their lives and they got to do what they got to do. Right.
Right.
And so it's like I tell Skylar echoes this same sentiment to me. He's like, one day I want to be a gym owner. And I was like, Skylar, you're the guy to do it. You could be that guy.
He could be that guy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could be that guy too.
I could be that guy.
And there's no doubt. And so what does that look like now? Well, only you can figure that out. But I tell people that are considering opening new gyms, I just talked about this on an episode about opening a jiu-jitsu academy. Location is everything. You have to find a location where you're not in competition with, obviously you don't want to open up and be in competition with me, but really you don't want to be in competition with anyone that is already like super established, heavy hitter, right? Like do your research, see what location makes the most sense. And that location has to offer two things. You don't want to open up and be in direct competition with somebody that's already well established. And then also you want to be in an area that can support, like across the street, we have how many houses? Like I want it to be convenient for families to be a part of this gym.
Right.
Darrington, Washington is not going to support that.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So just be strategic about it when the time comes. And bro, I know we have years to talk about this because you probably wouldn't want to do that until you're a black belt.
No, black belt.
Sometimes people fly the coop at brown belt, and it's like, okay, but I think those days have kind of passed.
Jiu-jitsu is too big.
That's what I'm saying. 15 years ago, you could open a place as a purple or brown belt and still be very viable. I think at these days, in the current flavor of jiu-jitsu, get your black belt and then figure it out.
Yeah. Definitely.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, now that I know that, I want to start abusing you for covering class.
Okay.
So I'm gone next week too. If you want to teach either Monday or Wednesday, let me know.
Okay, cool.
And then you can fucking show your fancy stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do one. We'll do one maybe.
Okay.
That'd be sweet.
Is that what we did last week? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did one. Will did one. That'd be really, really cool. I like that.
Vastly different jiu-jitsu.
Vastly. And he kind of bullies me. He's like, you don't know this. This is basic. I'm like, yeah, but it's never been taught here. Why would I know that? Like, you're a purple belt. You should know how to do this. I'm like, dude, you do this. Like, you have to show me. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Well, bro, that's the truth. It's like, it doesn't matter if the technique is extremely technical or almost like a that's so simple, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't been shown it, you haven't been shown it. And coming up with jiu-jitsu on your own, it happens all the time. A lot of your jiu-jitsu you develop on your own, but for you to just kind of intuitively know something that like Will knows without ever been showing it, okay.
You're right.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I still have it all the time. We talk about it very often where it's like, oh, you grab the gi like this, I grab it like this. And it's like, oh, I see why you do that.
Right. Oh, I see what you get out of that.
This
Okay.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then the next thought that goes through my head usually is, why didn't I ever think of that?
Right. Totally. Yeah, man.
So, you know what's crazy is like, I feel like you went white to purple belt. I don't really remember blue belt, Jake.
Blue belt was rough. I had a rough
Tell me about
belt.
blue belt. Why was blue belt rough?
Because I feel like I got to blue belt pretty quickly. I think in a year.
Yeah. You were a year white belt. And bro, for people that are like good athletes, dedicated, and growing fast, I don't have a problem with 1 year blue belts. Some people do, but come roll with my 1 year blue belts and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Because you guys had this fucking like group, this motley crew of fucking white belts that were just chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
To fucking get good.
It was really cool. It was super fun. Just the upstairs group of dudes.
Yeah.
That was really neat. But then, so I got to blue belt and I remember telling myself, because a lot of the guys were like watching Instagram and YouTube and, you know, the Gordon versus Craig Jones thing was really big at that time. And everybody was doing a lot of like Instagram moves and like just trying to find little shit out in the ether to pull in and doing it. You know what I mean? Just weird stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know how to get, this sounds arrogant, but I think you'll know what I mean. I know how to get good at shit. Like I've done that before in that I played hockey forever. Like I know what that progression looks like. So I remember making the decision that I was going to ignore Instagram and YouTube entirely and listen only to the coaches here. So you and Zeb and Zane were the guys I was training with. And just trust that they're going to teach me a system that's going to work and not spend time on random stuff that nobody can explain the details anyway because I saw it in a 10-second clip.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm only going to focus on this. And so I started getting submitted with like dumb, weird stuff that I didn't know what it was, but it wasn't necessarily super tight. And I focused. First, it was just pin escapes. I decided I'm going to get good at pin escapes and my guard, just retention. And I focused on that for a really long time and figured once I get good at that, then I'll figure out how to sweep people because they can't submit me. And then I kind of got there. And so then I started playing with sweeps and stuff and different guards and transitioning from guards. Still not really submitting a ton of people. I mean, I think I was a tough roll. I wasn't getting submitted a ton towards the end of my blue belt. My guard started to get pretty good, but then things start to come together. I feel I got really good control in my guards. I feel pretty good on the feet. Like I, for a long time, told myself I'm not pulling guard. Like one of us is getting taken down.
You got good at grip fighting.
Got real good at grip fighting. And then
Thanks to the Parker brothers.
dude, those guys are wizards.
I know.
They're like my secret weapon. I don't understand why people will not go to Saturday morning class. It is not super early. It's 9 a.m. And these dudes, it's like cross training. It's a totally different flavor of jiu-jitsu from yours. And they're so sharp. And all my best attacks have really come from them.
Dude, I love that.
All this sneaky
I love
shit.
that. Not obviously because they're very, very, they're some of the most technical, proficient grapplers I've ever met.
Yeah.
But also, if you bring their flavor into night class and people haven't seen it, it's like, oh, what did you do there? Well, come to Saturday morning, you'll fucking see.
It's pretty funny. Probably half of the classes that I've done that people are like, dude, that was great. Thank you so much for showing that. I'm like, just come to morning class. Like, we do this all the time. This is what a normal morning class is
Bro,
like.
I've been fucking...
I'm like regurgitating.
I've been really bad about this since injuring my elbow at the tournament. And I don't even like to use the word injury because it almost just feels like a very, very, very light tendon strain. Like it's not catastrophic. I can do everything. But every night at the end of practice, my elbow's fucking on fire. And so it's like, fuck, dude, I need to allow this the time to heal. And I need to do another cycle of BioPro.
Yeah.
But I told myself I'm going to start teaching one morning class every other week just to bring the cultures together. And I did that for like a month or two before this got hurt. And now I've kind of stepped away from it because when people don't know who I am, people know who I am. They know, oh, that's Greg who owns the facility, but they don't have a relationship with me. A lot of the morning guys don't have a relationship with me. And so I started to do that. And bro, there's some tough fucking dudes.
Real tough dudes.
And then they want to bring the business, right? No, dude, it's my chance to roll with Greg. And I realized, like, dude, those every other week morning class I teach really put me through the grinder because everybody wants to get some, right? And it's like, all right, my elbow's not quite ready for that yet. But anyways, in bringing that up, what I wanted to do was bridge the gap between morning culture and night culture. Because it's like people are almost and I've heard it the other way too. Morning guys are afraid of night class.
Yeah.
Because they're like, dude, I hear you guys go fucking hard.
It's just a grind fest. It's
And
like,
sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Right. But dude, it's not like we have these unreasonable expectations.
right. It's not Fight Club.
No. And if you want to do 2 rounds and then watch the next 3, well, bro, a half hour of live rolling, like the morning class doesn't do that a lot. Sometimes they end with 1 or 2 rolls. Is that correct?
They used to. Lately, they've been doing it.
They've been doing more.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's like it's different, and sometimes being like different is intimidating to people.
Yeah.
And so, and then them having a pretty substantial background in traditional martial arts, where it's more of the Bowdy or Sensei type energy, right?
Yep.
Not that they're fucking, dude, and they're cool
a little
guys.
more traditional.
It's just a little more traditional, right? Like when they're teaching, everybody's like in a formation as opposed to just a fucking motley crew circled around me. How I teach, right?
Yeah. And
it's like that doesn't mean they're better or worse or that's a good idea or a bad idea. It's just different. But I think guys like Anthony's a perfect example. Anthony is wired kind of degenerate like I am.
Yeah.
Like Anthony and my energy vibes very, very well. He probably doesn't want to fucking sit in a formation while somebody teaches.
Right.
You
but
know
for
what
some reason, I do. Like I gravitate towards that.
Bro,
I don't know if
it's
it's the structure about it. It's like the artistry about it.
Yeah.
That I really like. You know, I don't know why. I don't really know how to describe it.
Well, bro, and here's another thing that's important for you to understand, because you've already said, hey, one day I would like to have an academy, right? Bro, the more instructors you can be around, the better. And this is why. Different leadership styles will not only show you things that you like, but more importantly, it'll show you things you don't like. And that helps you find yourself.
Right.
And bro, that's a lesson that people need to understand in every single industry, every single position. Like if you can get more feedback from different leaders, the bad leaders will teach you a lot and the good leaders will teach you a lot.
Yeah.
And so like if you want to own an academy one day, guess what? You work with Zeb and Zane enough, you're going to have high level judo. Mm-hmm. I can't teach high level judo, so it's a lot to think about.
Right.
And then you even said you're delving into the no-gi degenerates a little bit too.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I figured, so I made this decision not all that long ago. Well, I don't know, about a year ago when I really started teaching a bunch. Right. And I wanted to make a point to train with every like major teacher here.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like such a good opportunity. Again, like with the cross training idea, it's kind of like we have like 3 gyms.
Isn't that the truth,
one.
man? Yeah, we have our morning team, our PM team, and then our no-gi team.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of guys that do some crossover. Like you're one of them. Like Brett, he hasn't been doing as much lately, but he still visits gi more than most of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Pat, he does morning and nights.
Yep. But we're finding people are kind of finding what they're pulled to. And like you said, now it's become like 3 teams under one roof.
Yeah. So it was 2 things. One, I wanted to take the opportunity to train with like every major coach here, just to learn as much as I could and share as much as I could. And 2, it was like I realized, like everybody knows, my main gym rival is Skylar.
Yeah.
Fuck Skylar.
Yeah, Skylar. He's coming for you, bro.
Dude, it really frustrated me that I realized he could come from no-gi to a gi class and implement his game, but it didn't necessarily work the other way around. Because so much of my game coming from the gi is based off my grips.
I love
and my
that.
whole gripping strategies and stuff, and suddenly they're totally gone and totally different.
Really, really important point to bring up.
Yeah.
That's important.
Totally.
Because like gi can translate to no-gi and no-gi can translate to gi as long as you have a pretty comprehensive understanding of the differences. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that understanding, you can go from one to the other and get fucking mauled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I go to no-gi, I feel like I can escape from everything because I feel like a salmon, There's no friction.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm out of everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm so fast. But man, not a lot of my game works off of collar ties and not being able to grab sleeve at the elbow,
Yeah.
That's kind of my main shit. And so I was like, well, that's a huge hole in my game. I need to start doing no-gi. And it kind of felt good to go and just get smashed again and feel kind of bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Or bottom of the pecking order, as it were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I go hang out with Dan's degenerates and just get crushed.
You also told me one day, you're like, man, when Dan used to, I believe this was you, correct me if I'm wrong. Like when Dan used to kick your ass when you were a white belt, it's like, okay, I'm getting my ass kicked by a black belt. It feels normal. Mm-hmm. That's what's supposed to happen. But now you're a good purple belt. And Dan runs the no-gi program here. And you said like, it's almost like you forgot what getting your ass kicked by Dan felt like, or you didn't expect it to be like that still, and it was, or something like that.
Yeah, it had been so long since I've rolled with Dan. I didn't remember what it was like to get mauled by Dan, and it's not that fun. It's really not fun.
Yeah.
Like rolling with you is real fun up until the mother's milk part.
Yeah.
That stops being fun really quick. I don't like that bullshit. But it's usually a really fun back and forth kind of thing. Like, it's moving. Rolling with Dan's not even fun.
It's
like
just
he
fucking,
just crushes you slowly
and just takes you down and darces you
every time. Yeah.
Or anytime, because bro, me and Dan don't roll much anymore because he's more the no-gi, I'm more the gi guy. But I watch his rolls with the no-gi guys, and it's like anytime someone shoots on him, they get darsed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, bro, once you know, like, and it's such a good thing for him to do to like build that reputation, because it's like, hey, you try and take me down, you're getting submitted. So what does that do to most people? Puts them on their heels a little bit.
Right.
It's one of his fucking superpowers, man.
I want to see him roll with Adam. See what happens there. That'd be cool.
He beats Adam.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I just want to know how, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if Adam. I don't know if Adam attends any nogi classes. I know he does some nogi stuff
With Igor.
with Igor, but I don't know if he
yeah.
attends nogi classes.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, fuck, dude. If he did, that would start to be like his 11th practice of the week.
I know, right?
So it's like,
I mean, I started doing some of the degenerate stuff, and I really like it. I was thinking about changing my schedule from Saturday mornings to doing Sunday nights with them. And, you know, then life like kind of got weird, and I was starting to try to settle into that. But then Zeb and Zane started doing a whole block of instruction on Berimbolo.
oh, you like Berimbolo?
I was like, ooh, that's cool. Yeah. I think they wanted to start doing really advanced stuff. And I was like, well, I guess I got to keep doing Saturdays.
Let me, I won't be in town till Monday, June 9th. But during that, the 4 to 5 block that's open mat, let's do some Berimbolo stuff.
Okay.
Because I would be interested to see how much more technical theirs is than mine.
It's so many steps.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Dude.
It's too many steps.
Yeah, and bro, here's the interesting thing. It's like, I feel like I have pretty good understanding and application of Berimbolo, right? You know how many times I go for that in live rolls? Damn near zero.
Right?
Damn near zero.
I just recently started doing it though.
Okay.
And it works. Like
Well,
I got
bro.
it on Kevin the other day. We were in this weird seated
And bro,
position in front of each
Kevin is a benchmark of if your jiu-jitsu works or not.
Oh yeah.
Because he's fucking good.
super good. But I got a hold of his heel and kind of an outside De La Hiva hook and was able to grab his collar and
Put him on his butt.
yeah,
and then roll through
spun up underneath him, spun him through, took his back, and I was like, holy shit, this works.
Well, bro, I mean, I don't know if you remember this era. No, of course you don't, unless you've looked back on YouTube. But back when like the Meow brothers and the Mendez brothers were the reigning world champions, they Berimbolo'd everybody.
Oh yeah?
Everybody. And bro, we're talking about other black belt world champions. They're Berimboloing guys at the world championship finals.
Man.
So you can't say if it works or if it doesn't work. It works if you know how to apply it right.
Right.
And dude, my buddy, Tony Gonzalez, who was like one of my main training partners when I lived in California, he is a checkmat black belt. He trained with, I think it was one of the Meow brothers. I think it was Joao Meow. And he's like, bro, and bro, I've probably done 1,000 rounds with Tony over the 5 years that I lived in. Like we rolled a lot together. You can't move him around very well. He's really strong. He has a really good base. He goes, bro, fucking kid Berimbolo me like nothing. And then says, bro, your Berimbolo defense, no good. So it's like, okay, well, if it works on him, again, that lets me know.
Yeah.
That means that fucking 145 pounder, whatever Joao Meow is, that means he'd do it to me too.
Right.
So it's real.
Nuts.
It just depends on what style of jiu-jitsu you want to build.
So what do you think like about where jiu-jitsu is going, right? So you had jiu-jitsu kind of start in the UFC, or like the UFC era when it was
where
kind of
it's
debuted
like
to the world,
built around fighting.
right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty basic. And then you kind of have this collection of eras moving up. Sounds like you kind of had like a Berimbolo, like prowess era.
Yeah, and during the Berimbolo era, you saw double guard pulls a lot
Sure.
because the smaller dynamic guys were finding more success getting under people than getting over people. Double guard pulls have been banned though now.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad, you know?
Yeah.
I don't, because I don't know, two guys on their butts scooting towards each other. To me, it just kind of doesn't represent what jiu-jitsu is as a martial art.
Right.
But the other truth is, if one of those little motherfuckers scooted towards me on his butt and grabbed a hold of me, I'd be fucked. So it's kind of hard for me to trash on it, because watching it, oh, it looks a little gay, I guess you could say, right? But the guys that got really good at it, it fucking works.
Right.
So it's hard to have an absolute, you know?
Right. But then the meta like moves, right? So then there's a couple other little areas in there, and there's like, you know, Keenan with the whole worm guard thing.
Yeah.
But now people have figured out how to shut that down. It's not the current stuff. We're kind of, I'm wondering if we're at the end-ish of like the leg lock era. It had its whole
leg lock era got big.
huge, and it was like everything. It seemed like it's what people were interested in. It's what was happening in competitions. I mean,
well, bro, and you already touched on it earlier. You said I made the conscious decision to kind of focus on the basics and build hubs around things that my coaches are teaching me, as opposed to going right into the inverted De La Hiva.
yeah,
Right?
right,
And the same thing goes for leg locks, because you can have a pretty sophisticated leg lock game that can present a lot of problems. But if you don't have good guard retention, okay, cool. Now I pass your guard and you're fucked. And
Right.
dude, I do that to a lot of leg lockers.
yeah.
They try and
Makes
twist
me so happy.
Yeah, they try and fucking tangle me up in their shit. And it's like, dude, I'm a better passer than you are guard player. And it doesn't matter what your go-to is. Your shit doesn't work. And the thing is, leg locks by the nature of what they are, they kind of put you in a compromised position unless you get it. If you get the finish, cool, you got it. But if you got a guy that has good defense, a lot of times that kind of puts you on your heels. A perfect example of that is what Joao showed. He goes, when I grab leg locks from the top, never fall back with them.
I liked that.
Always fall forward. Because when you fall forward, now you still have topside pressure. And if you lose it and a scramble ensues, you're in a good position to win that scramble. But bro, I've seen it so many times, and obviously Joao has too, is why he taught that. It's like people grab legs and fall back on them. And now that guy knows how to defend. Now you're fucked. And it's like, And I think if you wanted to grab a leg and fall back on it, but you don't have a pretty comprehensive understanding of the basics, it kind of puts you behind the power curve a little bit. And that's why our 101 is sweeps, passes, the mount, side control, the back, the guard. It's literally the 6 most common aspects of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And I think I haven't actually thought about this, but I think you're right. I think the leg lock era is kind of coming to an end. Not to where people won't use them,
Right.
but they're having to have a more comprehensive understanding of the whole game and then tie the leg locks into that,
Right.
as opposed to being like, I'm a leg locker,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
And people are going to start figuring out like what is the counter. Well, it seems to be good passing.
Yeah.
Maybe heavy pressure. Maybe not heavy pressure, but good passing. But
Well, and
so what
Boucher,
becomes the next?
what's the next thing?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like Boucher told me, he's like, dude, because he used to play a more comprehensive game. Well, he's fighting MMA now, so it's obviously jiu-jitsu applies in a fight very differently than it does in a gi jiu-jitsu match, right? But even his last few years of the world champion was like, I'm taking you down, passing your guard, and ripping your arm off.
Yeah.
It's like I'm moving away from the fancier stuff and bringing it back to the basics of jiu-jitsu. But if I had to answer where do I think jiu-jitsu goes next, I think we're probably going to continue to see a trend of that, of where it's like people start to want to trust the basics more, as opposed to I want to learn everything out of the gates. Because if you build a foundation of jiu-jitsu around Hodger Gracie, do that. And I'm not saying it's hard, because everything is a double-edged sword, right? You don't never want to grab a hold of a foot until you're a purple belt. That doesn't make sense either, right? But maybe you build the foundation of your game around the basics of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. The simpler things.
Because, bro, like pressure, angles, tightness, those are really what win fights, if we're being honest. That's, if I can control your hips and you can't control mine, I'm probably going to win sooner or later. Like those type of details have to be a focus on building yourself as a grappler out of the gates. And if you're not doing that, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be like, dude, I'm a leg locker. but then you don't know how to pass very well. And now you're a purple belt. You're a purple belt and your passing sucks. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me either.
Right. You got to kind of have it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Build a comprehensive understanding of the basics. That would be my advice. And I think we're seeing that kind of as the sport evolves. And you can take the top guys in the world, right? You can take the Rotolo brothers or Mikey Musumeci or Gordon Ryan. All those guys are good everywhere now. You wouldn't look at any of those guys and say they're leg lockers. The Rotolo brothers are leg lockers. But guess what? They certainly are.
Right.
They finish dudes with leg locks all the time. And then they also get on your back and finish you. And then they also mount you and finish you.
Just wicked rounded.
I think we're going to see more and more well-rounded grapplers that probably built themselves on the foundations and then started to branch out and let's explore this a little bit. Let's explore that a little bit. And that's probably the nature of where things go.
Dude, I think it's funny how the basics are really what carries you through. That's the stuff that really, really works. Like I've kind of come full circle in my passing. Like I know all kinds of fancy, weird passes and stuff, right? But now at purple belt, my best pass, that's like my sharpest go-to pass, Toriando.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, I Toriando everybody. And every time we drill it, people are like, oh, well, this wouldn't actually work because, and I'm like, then stop me from doing it.
Bro, if you...
It works so well.
That wasn't me coughing because I'm sick. That was me coughing because I'm in disbelief. Bro, if someone diminishes the value of Toriando, you can just text Jenny directly and have them their contract canceled. You want to hear something crazy about that style of passing? I didn't learn that till I was a brown belt.
Really?
No one up here did Toriando. You want to know why? Because where I started jiu-jitsu at was still, we get on the ground and we do jiu-jitsu together. We sit down on our butts or go to our knees. Like, bro, on our knees. Why would I fight you on my knees?
Right.
Like, what? Explain to me a circumstance where it's going to be beneficial for me to be crawling around on my fucking knees.
Right. Rather than standing above you.
Yeah.
Getting around your fucking hips.
But that was the culture, and that's what we did.
Right.
Toriando doesn't work in there.
Totally.
So then I changed, and then I met Buchecha, and bro, Buchecha makes you Toriando every single practice. Every single practice, you're doing Toriando drill. Because what does Toriando teaches you? It teaches you mobility, movement, angles, and entries. Not only entries, but exits too. Get close to you, get far to you. Get close to you, get far to you. Get close to you. Oh, I got the right angle now. Boom, pressure.
And also cardio management.
100%, dude.
You know, doing those drills for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You do them enough times, you learn how to not be as goddamn tired doing it.
Well, again, like I always refer to it as a dial, and it goes for rolling and drilling. If I turn it to 10, how long am I sustainable at 10? Not very fucking long, unless you're Harley, which we already talked about, right? But even really, really good athletes, and I still consider myself a good athlete, I can't manage level 10 output very long.
Right.
That's a sprint. The human body doesn't sprint for 6 minutes. It sprints for 30 seconds. And so like, yeah, learn that energy management and then learn to turn it up, turn it down. But bro, Toriando is, people think it looks easy. Like if you were to watch me do Toriando, it doesn't seem very comprehensive, but I've noticed your Toriando lately, how you steer the bottom leg down just enough to where you can stir the pot of soup, as we say, right?
Yeah.
You can stir the soup, you can turn the hip away. If you can't stir the soup, you can't turn the hip away, and now their guard is still facing you, all right, it's probably going to cause a problem.
Right.
And bro, it actually it's one of my pet peeves. I don't say this very often, but a lot of people's Toriando is still kind of shit.
I know, it's infuriating.
Even with a lot of drilling.
I know.
And it's like, no. Look, knee goes forward, then knee goes down, then you stir the soup.
Right. You're not just throwing it to the side.
You can't throw something to the side. You can't throw my legs to the side.
Yeah.
Like your
never gonna work.
hands can't grab somebody's fucking quads. It's just a strength ratio, right? And just go boom to the side.
Right.
But a lot of people still drill like that. And I try and correct it. It's like, bro, as a coach, that's probably my biggest fucking thing that I deal with constantly. It's
Sure.
like, now you're Toriano, you're not throwing it to the side, you're stirring the hips away.
Yeah. I don't know why some people don't listen on that one. It's one of those weird details where you're like, what? We just went over this. Why are you just...
Maybe it's because they don't.
Okay.
Maybe because they don't understand the ramifications of doing it correctly versus doing it incorrectly in a live roll.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's why, like, dude, if I get your inside knee grips and have like dominant grips, I'm probably gonna fucking pass your guard.
Yeah.
And it's because of those angles and that pressure.
Right.
Bro, wasn't it funny? It's 2 hours, dude. It's almost time to wrap it up.
Holy shit.
That went fast.
Yeah.
Huh? When Gavin asked at practice on last Wednesday, I believe it was, is like, hey, can we choke the face? 11-year-old
Yeah.
boy, not only 11-year-old boy, but an 11-year-old boy that doesn't really have any aggression in him.
Right.
Like, he's developing technical jiu-jitsu over the last few years, which I love to see. But his strength is not aggression.
No.
You know, that's Nicholas' strength.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same with adults. Like our athletes bring different strengths and weaknesses. And Gavin has never been like, hey, I'm gonna just fuck you up with pressure and aggression. That's not how that kid rolls.
Right.
And he says, hey, can you choke the face?
That was so funny.
I was like, all right, everybody, let's have a talk.
Like, you can. If you want to play that game.
But it's probably not advised on your teammates.
Right.
You know? And that's what I told him. I was like, I like to think of my jiu-jitsu as 3 levels of jiu-jitsu. I have the jiu-jitsu that I do with my teammates here. Then I have the jiu-jitsu that I'm willing to do in competition, because I can be a dick in competition and I don't feel bad about it. Because I know that they would do the same to me, and they have done the same to me when the opportunity presents itself. So you have training partner jiu-jitsu, you have competition jiu-jitsu, and then you have street self-defense jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Where I can gouge your fucking eyes and I can fucking bite your face off if I want to. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, well, in a street fight, I could do this. Well, in a street fight, I could do that. In a street fight, I can do all that to you too. I just have absolute elite level control of your hips.
Right. Right. Like, why can you do it, but I can't? But I'm going to guard pull and you can eye gouge?
Yeah,
like, no.
Yeah, exactly. It's a delusion that people have attached to jiu-jitsu, because when they see me and you having a productive training round where there's some guard passes going back and forth or whatever the case may be, they'll see a position as like, oh, if I were there, I could fucking bite his whatever, or I could eye gouge. It's like, you don't understand what we're doing here.
Right.
We're training together right now. Like,
Yeah.
you try and fight me, some guy that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, there's a 0% chance you have me mounted.
Right. Like, that doesn't look like this. What we're doing right now.
You want to hear something funny, dude? Because I don't agree with it, because I know jiu-jitsu works in street fights because I've done it, right? But there's still a large percentage of people that are like, well, in jiu-jitsu in real life is this, or in real life it'd be that. It's like, listen, I'm not going to berimbolo you on concrete. Purple belt level jiu-jitsu, I have great balance. I have great base. I have great like distance management. I have good pressure. I have the ability to scramble. Those are the things that win fights.
Right.
That's what wins fights.
Right.
But I've even seen people say that in relation to UFC fighters. It's like, well, in a real fight, I'm like, dude, George St. Pierre would do whatever he would hold you down and butt fuck you if he wanted to. I don't give a fuck if you can eye gouge.
The total unearned confidence of a dude who's never been in a fight is unfucking believable. Just the absolute confidence of like, I can fucking do that.
Well, and bro, that's another thing. It's like, okay, you could eye gouge George St. Pierre in a real fight, and he could do that back to you.
Yeah.
On top of the 4,000 other techniques that he can implement at a world championship level.
Right.
But bro, Tyler Stanaway told me that his uncle said he could beat UFC fighters in a real fight. Like there are people that really believe that.
Didn't he then hold him down, Tyler? I think he like took him down and mounted him and just held him there for a while.
You're right.
He was telling me something about this.
You're right. I don't think it was his uncle. I think it was his stepdad.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on that, so I don't want to. I don't
tell Tyler's story.
I don't want to tell Tyler's story. He's actually, we're going to record again before too long, so I'll double check with that. But yeah, he's had altercations with family members where he's like, okay, I'm showing you what jiu-jitsu is.
Right.
And they're still reluctant, you know? People are fucking nuts, dude.
It's so funny.
Fuck, dude. I feel like we got more to talk about, but it's 2 hours and 5 minutes.
I know. Have me back. This has been great.
Fuck yeah. This
I'll
was
come
a
up with
good
another
one.
sick intro.
Yeah. And by the time you come back on, maybe we'll fucking give it 6 months or something. And guess what? We'll have another fucking easy 2 hours of jiu-jitsu content to talk about.
Well, I can't wait to run the gym next week. That'll be great. I'll come up with a cool lesson plan.
Fuck yeah. It makes me happy, dude. I'm very appreciative that people are excited to pour into the gym.
Yeah.
And dude, just the nature of my life, dude, one of my ethos is when doors open, walk through them.
Yeah.
Right? So when my friend Chad Robichaud says, hey, do you want to come into the mountains and film a television show on looking for Bigfoot? Okay. Do I think we're going to find Bigfoot? The answer is no. Okay. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Because I have to be honest with people. I'm not going to be one of those finding Bigfoot guys. It's like, oh my God, I heard a stick break and that's Bigfoot, right? Like, now, do I also think it's an impossibility that a great ape lives on the North American continent? I don't think that's an impossibility. There's fucking gorillas, right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, if we found a fucking, what's a group of gorillas called? A pod? Like, do they have a name? Every animal has its own name, right?
Is it a troop?
A troop? No, that's
chimpanzees.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But
Okay.
regardless,
Yeah.
if they found let's just say troop, if they found a troop of gorillas in an isolated fucking valley of the North Cascades, oh, well, there's your Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's where, that's literally Bigfoot. We found the fucking, we put together all of these fucking conspiracies and claims and tales. It's actually a North American gorilla, right?
Right.
So if it can exist in Africa and everybody's completely normal and accepting of that, look at an orangutan. Same thing. They find a group of orangutans. Okay, well, there's your Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just think it's very unlikely because, bro, we have game cams, we have drones, like people's footprint of our understanding of what's going on planet Earth is expanding every single fucking day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one has any real viable evidence. Okay. It's just, it seems less and less feasible, but at the same time, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right. Okay. Well, you'll have to save this for the next time I come back because
say your Bigfoot piece.
I fucking, I used to be a real big hunter.
Yeah.
I've been a woodsman my whole life. I have opinions about Bigfoot, man.
Share your base level opinion.
To believe in Bigfoot so bad. I could be so easily convinced. Any little thing. I am so ready to be on board with Bigfoot. Nothing. There's just nothing. One would have been hit by a car. Like
Harry and the Hendersons. Someone would have hit a Bigfoot with a car.
Right. Florida Panther was a myth for like ever, right? Well, there's like 2 of them that they know about in and out of like Mexico. There's like 2 Florida Panthers. One of them got hit by a fucking car.
Yeah.
Game cams everywhere. Google Earth. Drones, like you're saying.
Well, but here's the other thing. If it is a highly, highly intelligent creature, and it has the capability of having the intelligence of a human being or maybe greater, right? Because what do people think? Oh, if it has hair and it lives in the woods, it's a stupid animal, right? Or maybe it is chosen to live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle and it's so fucking smart that it's been able to avoid everything. And who knows,
Except
right?
meth heads.
Except meth heads.
Except for meth heads.
But bro, you go out in the woods with Govin, my dog. Have you been out to my property with him at all ever?
Not with him, no.
Okay. So he goes 3 feet into the wood line and he disappears like a ghost.
I know.
It's weird. I've never had a dog like, and this is my third Malinois, but my other Mal's had a lighter tan and they just didn't have that like elite level of camouflage. He has the perfect coat and he goes a couple feet into the woods and it's like, where do you fucking go?
Right.
And I'll be like, Golden, get over here. And he'll literally like turn his head and look at me. I'm like, oh, fuck, you're still right there. Whoa. And so it's like, man, the world's small on one hand, but it's fucking big too.
Meth head would have shot one.
Bro, if I had to fucking bet money on it and be like, all right, this is $1 million that we're going to give you. And if you choose the correct answer, you get to keep it. I would put the money on the pile that there is not a Bigfoot in North America.
Yeah. I think there was a Bigfoot. I think we've probably proven that, huh? Right? Isn't that what Gigantopithecus is or something?
I don't know.
I think there was a Bigfoot. There was probably a great North American ape. And it probably lived around here. And I think it got passed down through tradition of like the natives and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's probably died off a long time ago, but those myths still live on. And that's kind of what we're perpetuating, but I don't think it's here anymore.
I think you just nailed it, bro.
That's what I think.
That felt like truth.
Yeah.
Because, all right, last thought, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
You've watched Ancient Apocalypse with Grant Hancock, where to me, he has painted what I would consider proof for a cataclysmic event that wiped out human population 12,800 years ago. Based on all of his findings and his research and what he brings to the table, and bro, fucking serpent mound, and like you have these gigantic ancient structures. There was a civilization here before the civilization as we know it. And so part of North America just getting fucking basically wiped off the map and restarted, that's probably when that changed.
Yeah, totally.
You know? And I think a lot of stories and myths got to continue is almost like folklore because that's the way things were. It's not the way things are anymore. And so now here we are 10,000 years later, but the myths and the teachings and the old ways, just a small piece of it made it to modern times.
Yeah.
That's why like every fucking culture, every culture has a story of the Great Flood.
Yep.
Okay. But we don't have any teachings of the Great Flood because it's not in a history book, right?
Right.
The Sahara Desert has fucking seashells in it. There's aquatic fossils on the summit of Mount Everest, right? Like shit's been different than it is today.
Yeah.
We have to accept that, you know? Yeah, you're getting me all fired up. I want to do a whole nother episode. Maybe next time we don't even talk jiu-jitsu. We just fucking talk conspiracy theories.
Aliens.
Dude.
Fuck yeah, aliens.
Aliens who now they're thinking they may fly their ships. Have you heard how they have most recently think alien ships may be powered?
Okay.
Through consciousness.
Hell yeah. I'm in.
Because we're
totally in.
We're so used to like, oh, well, the combustion engine requires oil and refinery and fire and compression. So our brains think like this is how things are propelled. Maybe they're not. Maybe that's such a fucking backwards way of thinking. Like maybe the pyramids were built with consciousness.
Yeah.
All right, wrestlers.
Fuck yes.
Wrestlers have their music turned up. They're out there killing each other.
Yeah.
I want to wrap this up, and I got to get home because I'm flying to California in the morning. So
cool, man.
Appreciate you, bro. That was fun. Good
Hell yeah.
podcast.
Thank you.